Hey, welcome to the first series in our sales training program. Today, I'm going to just be going over and kind of showing you the basics of sales, and I'm going to start by doing that by explaining the law of averages. So let me just let me just pull out a pen here so that we can actually write, and you guys can follow along. So just give me a moment on that. All right, perfect. Got it. All right, so today we're going to be talking about introduction to sales. We're going to be going over law of averages. So basically, law of averages, think of that as basically what it is the breakdown of your daily actions that you're going to do every single day. So maybe for you, that might be making phone calls, or that might be talking to people face to face, or doing a certain amount of presentations, and how many of that actually converts into a sale at the end of the day. Okay, so if anything, I'm going to start with the basics, and then I'm going to run it down to you, and I'm going to explain kind of the methodology behind this. So basically, law of averages, probably one of the most important things that you're going to learn in sales. This is what separates a professional salesperson from an amateur, and I strongly believe that. Um, so first off, I'm going to explain kind of how the background of this. So basically, law of averages is what it takes to get to an end of it's how many actions it takes to get a sale at the end of the day. I've used this in business to business businesses. I've used this in business to customer or business to consumer businesses. I've used this on door to door campaigns, and I've used this over on in over the phone kind of sales, right? We're doing like Skype appointments. So really, this is probably one of the most important things that a salesperson can understand and really harness the power of using a systematic approach to doing sales. So let me start with the basics. So we're going to start over here on customers engaged. So a customer engaged is someone that you've actually talked to or that you've attempted to make contact with in one single day. So for us, for this example, we're going to say 150 people. So if you're on the phone, if you're making phone calls, pretend like I made 150 calls today. Or if you're meeting with people in a business to business, how many businesses did I meet with that day? I met with 150 businesses that day, right? Then we're gonna do something called an ad. For me, it was an address check. For you, it might just be how many people did I actually let me talk to them, right? How many people actually let me stop them and spend the time to meet with them, right? So maybe out of 150 people, only 15 people out of 150, so about 10% of people, and this is important, 10% of people let me actually stop and talk to them about my product or service or whatever it is I was selling, right? Or that's how many reactions I got. Maybe if you're doing email marketing, right? This might be a little bit larger. Maybe I sent out 15,000 emails and I got 1,500 people actually respond to that email. How many people responded to you? And out of that, right? Because there's something in sales where a lot of people are going to waste a lot of time if they don't recognize this. Out of that, how many of those people that you talked to were actually qualified? So for us, it was an address check to an address qualified. But how many people did you talk to that were actually qualified for you to actually present to? And all that means, how you determine if someone's qualified, is you're looking for something called a decision maker. So we're just going to write DM. So basically, the decision maker is someone that's in charge and can actually move forward financially with the decision. So, for example, if I was selling a high ticket item and I was talking to maybe the wife, but I determined through our middle conversation at this point, right, that the husband was actually in charge, they would be something called a non-DM, meaning they couldn't make a decision, right? So what I might do with that lead is I might schedule it for like a later date and follow up with it when the husband's there, but I wouldn't waste my time. But on the other hand, if I had the wife and she was in control of all the decisions and she paid the bills, right? So she had to control the money. I would consider that a qualified lead, right? So an address qualified or a qualified lead. So I would have 10 out of 15. So I dropped 5 down, but that's okay because I'm screening my leads, right? Out of that 10, how many of those customers did I actually present to and actually try to sell to? So if I had 10 people that were decision makers that were in charge of the money, I should probably present to all 10. Realistically, I can't expect to close all 10, right? I don't care how good you are. If you're Jordan Belfort, you're not going to close all 10. realistically, I should close about 60% of the customers I talk to if I'm following this model. Or maybe for you, maybe you're selling a little bit higher end item, and maybe you find like it's 50% for you. But or even like 33%. What I found for me is I close at about a 60% closing rate when I do a one-on-one appointment. So that's pretty good. And obviously over time, you're going to be tracking your numbers. You're going to get better at things. And I'm going to explain how you can actually utilize this information to make you better later on, yeah, in the sales process to fine tune kind of your skills. So if I do six, so basically if I close six customers, right, how many of those customers actually be qualified and sold? So for me, I had to do a credit check. You might not have to do a credit check. You might have to do paid in full, or meaning that someone actually paid in full for the product or service, or maybe even a payment plan. So maybe for this, maybe this is a paid in full for you instead of a credit qualified, right? So maybe how many customers were paid in full for me? Right, and maybe you have a second option over here that says, how many customers were a payment plan, right? Out of that, how many customers did I sell? So if I talked to 150 people in one day, at the end of the day, how many customers did I actually sell? So you want to make kind of like your LOAs, based off of you. But for us, we had it where we were selling 1 to 2 people a day, and if you were a good salesperson, you could even sell 3 to 5 people a day. So it all depends on obviously your product, but the most important thing to learn here is that you want to build a law of averages or a systematic approach to whatever you're doing. And all you have to do that is just fill in these numbers here, and you could be good to go. And what this helps you do is it helps you track your progress and really learn and build upon where you need help. So let me just give you another example over here. I want you to think of law of averages and even like your sales as kind of like a funnel, right? So I don't know what you're selling, but think about, if I have this person, right? So think about this as my customers engaged, right? And I have this person, and they're going through my sales process, which is my funnel, right? So over here, I'm going to qualify them. So I'm going to make sure that the customer is qualified. So all right, qualified customer, right? Customer qualified, right? So I'm going to have a little bit less people, but at least I'm going to have that, right? I'm going to have another person going through it. And then from there, I'm going to have this will be my part where I actually present to the person. So customer presented, right? And I'm going to get my presentation better. If I do this every single day, where I fill this funnel with about 150 people, I should end the day with about 3 sales. And that's basically the thinking behind law of averages. The only other thing that I want to explain here is you have to understand that when you're new to sales, or even when you're first getting started, and let me just... Okay, so I erased everything for you guys. All right. So you have to understand that when you're new to sales and when you're first getting started, you're not going to know the entirety of the product, right? But you're probably going to have someone there who can help you close a customer, right? So what we always used to say in my business is there was something called will versus skill. So I want you to think, how many people, if you're in sales, no matter what sales you're doing, how many customers can you realistically just go and make a phone call to them and just like, hey, how you doing, right? And follow maybe the introduction to whatever script you're using, right? For us, it was as simple as, hey, quick question, what home cable provider are you using at home, or what cable provider you have at home, right? For you, it might be, hey, I was following up with you because I saw that you had filled out our online application. I just wanted to go through that with you. Do you have a moment of time, right? Be different for everybody. How many people can you actually do that? It doesn't take any skill really to do that. It's just a will, right? And how many people can you figure out if they're non-DM, right? Or a decision maker? It's very easy to do that. It just takes one question, right? Okay. So if we're going to move forward today, I just want to make sure that I have everyone that's on the phone. Or if we were going to make a decision like this today, as I was going over your application, do I have the person who makes the final decisions, or can you walk me through the decision process of how you normally make a decision like this today, right? And then you're gonna be like, well, normally I need my husband here, or normally I need my wife here. Okay, don't. It would probably be better if we schedule another time, or it'd be like, oh, well, normally I make a decision like that, and I go through this and this process. Okay, cool. So that means we can actually go through this, right? This is the part where you're gonna get lost when you're new. It's the skill part, right? So in the beginning, if you just focus on the will, you're gonna get the close. You're gonna get a customer because this is the part that someone's gonna actually help you on is the presentation, right? This is the skill part of it, right? The closing part, right? Someone's gonna help you on these parts, right? You have to trust that the system that you're doing works every single day. And I always like to say that LOAs are not just by the day. So if you went through a day, right, where you had so you went through a day where your day was exactly like this, but over like a 5-day week, right? So 5 days, 150 times 5, you're talking to about 750 people, right, a week. Talk to 750 people. I don't see how you shouldn't be closing about 15 people or more every single week if you follow the system, right? And your LOAs are going to be different. Your LOAs might be a little bit different than mine. You might not have to talk to many people. You might have to talk to more people. But whatever the system is, you want to make sure that it fits into the process that you're using. Um, so this is basically the LOAs, and kind of like the systematic approach to what we do. In my next video, I'm going to be going over the 80-10-10 rule, and it's going to be like a brief little video explaining kind of how to overcome basically the fear of no's and kind of getting rejected. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next video.